p.m. Eastern Time. It is the 11th of November, 2020. And our disclaimer, which I always have to read or the lawyers go crazy, is that this is presented for educational and informational purposes only. Full stop. As far as our intellectual property rights, yes, we have intellectual property rights which include, but are not limited to, patents, trademarks, registered marks, and copyrights. So before you use anything of what I'm about to produce and display for you, please ask us prior to using it, and then, of course, cite marketrebellion.com. All right, how about this one yesterday? There I was on the halftime report from the office here talking about Sonos, which, as you know, is integrated audio into your home and more. Well, Sonos was going to be reporting earnings, and somebody thought that it would not only be a good report at that time, but also a good report going forward because they bought April call options. They were buying the April 20s yesterday. How did that trade work out, folks? Well, let's see. Sonos jumped by almost 28%. That's right. In fact, when you look at the high of the day, which so far has been 22.32, that would be a 30% jump overnight. So in other words, the tell that we told you about yesterday was pretty valuable. If you were a stock investor and you put 1,000 share position on in the stock, that would be $17,000. Today, you would be basically $4,700 richer. Now let's look at what's going on with the option side of that. So the option side is as follows. A 400% winner for my short-term November calls, which I was trading into earnings, and I was already long those. You can check it out on my disclosures at cnbc.com as well as at Market Rebellion. But so the 10 lot here would have been a lot less money. In fact, yesterday, a 10 lot of these, each option closed at 85 cents yesterday, which means a 100 share position would be $85. A 1,000 share position would be $850. What is that worth today? Well, it's worth $4,200. So, on the one hand, $17,000 investment to buy the stock, and yes, it did jump by 30%, or that $850 investment that put up a gain of $3,350 overnight. So you decide what's best for you. Once you understand options, I know which is best because I can control risk and I can profit in this way. Instead of tying up $17,000, we tied up less than $1,000 and made nearly the same amount of money. Bang! Now you can imagine that if you had a 100 option position like I have, that would mean that you're not talking about a $3,300 profit. You're talking about a $33,000 profit. You couldn't have screwed it up. Bang. That's one of the winners from yesterday. And then let's look at this. I talked yesterday on the show about the April 1750 calls that I bought against the April 20s. Because when I saw those April 20s, I didn't really want to buy something that was as far out into the future, out of the money as a 20 strike, even though they could, be a great winner. And they were trading for $2, as you see. Previous close was $2. They traded to $4.82 today. But let's just look at the big pictures here. $4.40, they're up 120%. The ones we bought are up 112% and up $3.20. So as you recall, yesterday I think we put on that trade for 90 cents, and today it's worth what, 165. So we've almost doubled on our spread already, as well as that huge profit on the call side. That's why you trade options, my friends. Now let's take a look at another winner, Virgin Galactic. Looks like I'm getting ready to grab something there. Virgin Galactic was up $1.51 or 7% yesterday, and we cited it on the halftime report. Then let's take a look, and I also bought not the December 28 calls, but a lower strike, 23.28 I think it was, spread. And today it's up another 5.7%. Same kind of math. If you bought 1,000 shares yesterday when the stock was $22.86, that would be $22,000 investment. If you bought the options that we bought yesterday, you could make that money go a lot further, control your risk, and be experiencing a wonderful kind of day today. All right. You want to learn more about crypto? Of course you do. Because look, what's the best performing asset class out there this year? Digital assets, folks, cryptocurrencies. Yeah, you've got great trades in NVIDIA. You've got great trades in Apple and Microsoft and Zoom and Teladoc. But when you compare those to crypto, crypto crushes them. And if you want to learn more about crypto from guys that really practice it, the two guys that are the heart and soul of our crypto team, these guys were mining Bitcoin in their dorm room. They had 50 units all set up, 50 rigs they call them, all set up to mine Bitcoin. This is 3 years ago when they were off in college. Now these guys are running our crypto trading room. So if you go to the Apple iTunes store, the Apple store, you will see that our approved app is in there for Market Rebellion Crypto. And I can't tell you enough about why this is such an exciting area of the market to be in. Just go to marketrebellion.com/crypto to learn more. Why wouldn't you? All right, COTY. And this was posted by one of our friends on Twitter. The December 6 calls that we cited for the unusual option activity, as you see there, was already up over 4,500 contracts early on in the day. And that's me talking about it on the halftime report. We were talking about these calls expire the 4th of December. In other words, they have weeklies in COTY, C-O-T-Y. Is one of the reasons a Kardashian reason? Very possibly, because both Kim and Courtney, I believe, have, or was it? It's one of the other Kardashians. Again, you never know. What is the reason that the stock's moving like this today? Do they have another Kardashian announcement? Maybe. Look at this volume, though. It's not 4,500 contracts. When we talked about it, it was up over 10,000. Now it's up over 19,000. Thank you. So that's a lot of the folks that watched me on the halftime report and said, I'm going to go with Doc on this one. So these calls, we're in them. They are December 4th expiration, which means they only have about 2 weeks from tomorrow before they expire. But we've already got a big winner in this trade. These options have already doubled today. Bang! Now let's get to some more unusual option activity. You heard on the halftime report my dog Dexter barking and sort of annoying Scott, I guess, Scott Wapner, the host. But nonetheless, half wolf, half Bernese mountain dog. He's got a vicious bark. Louisiana Pacific. This is a housing play, folks. Why? Because they make a lot of the wood that you might find and other stuffs for housing. So Louisiana Pacific, or LPX, they were buying the February 37 calls. Big volume here, too. Almost 12,000 of those. Bang, bang, bang. Accumulated really quickly. There is when we spoke about it, when it was 34.15 or thereabouts for the stock. You see the arrow there. And gee, I wonder what that volume is just after we spoke about it. Well, it is probably a lot of you and a lot of others jumping into this stock. And as you see, driving it to 35.19 just moments ago before I did this update. So it's been a great ride already. I've already taken some profits on the stock that I have in LPX, and I'm going to be holding this one most likely into February because housing is one of my favorite. I mean, I don't think the stay-at-homes are dead, but I certainly don't think housing's dead, not with interest rates as low as they are. I think fixing up, rehabbing, and buying homes, hands down, one of the best areas of the market right now, especially since these aren't like 50 times sales like Zoom and things like that. Let's get to the next one. AMD. AMD, bullish call buying, November 27.5 expiration. So it's not this Friday, not tomorrow, but the 27th of November. They're buying at the 85 call strike. which is, of course, as you can see, at the money, just in the money by 12 cents. I'm calling it at the money. The 85s, they're buying these aggressively, and they were buying a host of others aggressively. Look at this. I mean, look at the calls, 293,000 calls in AMD versus 66,000 puts. So, as you guys know, that's nearly 5x amount of calls versus puts. Now, there's not a direct correlation that would say, oh, this is why it's my unusual activity. But these calls that expire the 27th of November at the money 85s, I bought them. I will be writing or selling, hands out, selling higher strikes against them as we rally into next week, which is what I anticipate. Now, doesn't always work out that way. We're about 77 to 78% accurate, folks, with these reads, meaning when we see unusual activity, it means the stock's going to move. However, that leaves some 22% or so that do not work. I cut my losses, move on to the next trade. That's the way I manage risk. If it loses half of its value, and these are options that only have a little over a week to live, again, they're not tomorrow expiration. These are November 27th expiration. So I will cut my losses fast if these don't work. And on the other hand, if they double, I'll take at least half off the table. And because of the time frame and the fact that we won't be trading Thursday next week because, of course, it's Thanksgiving, but we will trade half a day on Friday. You don't have a lot of time in this trade. So if these options double, I will be quick like a bunny. Let's get to your questions now. Question time. And you can send these to me at Jon Najarian on Twitter. You could send them to @3 @3_ UOA. You can send them to Market Rebels. That's at Market Rebels. I mean, you decide how you want to send us the questions. We'll answer them here. It's become extremely popular. So, Tenured Trader says, hey, John, more UOA on Apple lately? Yes, we did have more UOA, which is unusual option activity. Appreciate you using that vernacular. We did have that just 2 days ago. So I am still long and strong Apple. I love this trade. I love this company. And Tenured Trader, you're right. I see more upside for Apple. NVIDIA, John Hoffpower says, and his handle is at Hoff, PAUIRJON. Love the way you spell the name. John and Pete, you guys like NVIDIA and Raymond James target raise? Well, they took it from 620 to 706. Crushed on earnings too. Yes, I like NVIDIA. Now, here's my conundrum though. As an investment, I like AMD. I like TSM, Taiwan Semi. I like Qualcomm more than I like NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA has outperformed them, which is one of the reasons that I like these others to start catching up. Now, I'm not saying you have to do a pairs trade, but I like the others in my portfolio more than I like the upside for NVIDIA. And that's the reason, John, that I'm not in that one yet. But we get a big surge of buying unusual option activity. I'll jump in the options, but like I say, I like the others right now a little bit more. Manny Magoo says, bang, apparently. John and Pete Najarian and Red Dog T3, which is my friend Scott Redler. Scott, love you, by the way. Great calls. He's full of great calls, folks, and he does a fabulous job. Sooner or later, Scott and I have to, do more working together because I love what Scott does. Anyway, he says, SBE, since monitoring this stock about 2 weeks ago, it's gone up 50%. Yeah. It's been a great ride. We've talked about it for unusual activity. Scott's talked about it with his work as well. I love this one, SBE. So Manny Magoo, thank you for highlighting that. Chinese EVs, yeah, let me get to this one real quick. McLean Mansfield says, John, and 3 @3, there you see the handle again, folks. You can send us the questions. At Jon Najarian, @3, the @ spelled out, 3 _ UOA. So, hey, John, huge fan. Thank you for that, sir. KNDI has seen a 100% jump in the past week. Do you think it has the same legroom similar to other Chinese EVs recently, like NIO, like LI, like XPEV, XPEV? Would love to hear your thoughts. Bang. Yes, I do. And right now, because of the runs in these, and you've heard me talk about these as well as FSR Fisker, you know I'm long Tesla as well. In other words, I'm a big believer in green. You know, people look at me and say, oh, John, you're probably a climate denier or something. No, I'm not. And I love EVs. And I'm one of the guys around this house that's always turning off lights when nobody's in the room. So I love EVs. I think China in particular, they could just decide to build 20 nuclear power plants and just do it. So EVs in China, yeah, makes a lot of sense because they need to get that pollution down. And I think this is a big part of their future, and a big part about getting that pollution down are these EVs. Now, Candy is not the same, KNDI. Some of these make things for warehouses, folks, and autonomous vehicles and so forth. Some of these are outright EV, which is, of course, electronic vehicles, and I like all those plays. I'm a buyer of them on dips or when we see unusual option activity because they've had such outstanding performance that I've converted from a lot of my stock positions into call spreads so that I can control the risk better. Thank you for that, McLean. And if you'd like to learn more about Market Rebellion and all of the different offerings we've got, please go to marketrebellion.com/get started. That is marketrebellion.com/get started. Or just to learn about unusual option activity, go to marketrebellion.com/UOA. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has been a good, basically, explanation of what I needed to get across to you about trading in options and how you can control your risk with options. I appreciate you joining us, and I hope I see you tomorrow right back here on Market Rebellion Television. Bang!